After dropping out of college, Owens became CEO of Degree 180, a website which included, among other things, a blog focused on taking down then-candidate Donald Trump.
So for the last few months, I've been doing a deep dive into the characters of two specific individuals. One is Candace Candy Apple Katari Owens, and the other is Teron Tucker Carlson. And I will forever call them by their rightful names and essentially subscribe them to their rightful owners. Now, during my about 5-day vacation, went out of town with the fam bam, and for some reason it seemed like everything just happened during those 5 days. And so here I am back home with the news that not only have Candace and Tucker sat down for a 2-hour interview, but now there's a full-blown war against the likes of a Nick Fuentes, Nick, the Mexican white supremacist Fuentes, and the Groypers of the world. All of a sudden, the rest of the world, including the neo-schmazis themselves, are now turning on their Candy Apple Candace and Teron Tucker Carlson. And so I thought to myself, well, yeah, of course, because that's exactly what happens to liars. Your lie can only sustain for so long. That's what I've always said is all things that happen in the dark shall come to light, right? Therefore, every lie has a shelf life. And this one seems to be on its last couple of days before expiration. If not, we're already past that expiration date. So I wanted to get into a video that was put together by none other than Milk Bar TV. Shout out to Milk Bar TV. You're doing the damn thing. And essentially, it is showing you the characters of these two individuals. And, you know, I've made a decision that as important as it is to point out the contradictions in the information delivered by people like this, because the information is dangerous that they're pushing. The lies are dangerous. The conspiracies that they're pushing for facts are dangerous in a real way. And I don't mean that in a leftist sort of way. Words are mean and words are dangerous. No, I mean there's blood libels here. Saying things happened that didn't, and, you know, essentially subscribing things to specific groups of people, the Jews, that actually never happened or they never did. And then foregoing the people who actually are doing these things, right? Coddling the jihadist while persecuting the Jewish. So anyway, this video right here is, I guess, specifically around the subject matter of a man that both of these individuals used. Now, they both use anybody or any platform, any sort of thing in order to sort of ascend themselves, right? I did a video on Candace Owens and how a man by the name of Gavin McInnes created a platform for her early before anybody gave a damn who she was. She discarded him, right? Then we had the likes of Laura Loomer, discarded. Even Nick Fuentes back then, discarded, right? The only people she sort of kept around or never really spited and never burnt bridges with were the individuals who, you guessed it, she could still use. Now, DJT was one of those guys who she has been on the sort of borderlines with for a while now, right? He is the most powerful, at least by title and by position, and also by, you know, the man took a damn bullet for our country. DJT, Donald Django Trump, 45, 46, 47, is a man who has been used by a multitude of people from day one. From the day he got inaugurated into office, term one, day one, till right here, right now. Now, unfortunately, at first it was inner circle. It was the people around him working with him day to day. And it is still unfortunate, but at least it's people with less sort of say-so, which is the so-called influencers, right? The Dan Bilzerians and the, God, who else we have out there? The Jake Shields, the CTE victims out there. Individuals who've been cracked in the head maybe one, too many times. Those sorts of individuals. Then the Dave Smiths, the not so comedic Dave Smith, right? As much a comedian as Dr. Dre or Dr. Seuss is a doctor. Then we have, as we come back full circle, the likes of a Tucker, a man who sat across from the president, big smiles, laughter, just to find out on the back end that he could not stand the man and was ready for the man to finally no longer be in a position of power so he didn't have to talk about him. We'll get into that. And of course, Candace, who herself early in her career had ambitions of becoming a politician. She, and probably still to this day, she wanted to become a senator, maybe even a president. Maybe even a president. Imagine that. First female president, a complete whack job. Now, it's interesting to me how all of a sudden, when Trump is at his most powerful, when he is doing the most, I'm talking about the last 6 months have been better than any presidency I have at least seen in my lifetime. The totality of, right? Let alone some of y'all who were born a little before I was and got to have more presidents. I've never heard of, never read of a president who was this active. I haven't heard of a group of men, well, now you can say women as well, who have been as proactive politically as when I read back to, the formation of America back in Jefferson's time. You understand me? When they were just doing things, they were on it. Every single day, something had to be done. Yet now, out of all times, Candace decides to make DJT an enemy. Interesting. Real interesting timing. All of a sudden, Tucker is questioning the decision making of our president. When I really saw it with Tucker was with the Iran situation, right? Oh, he's going to throw us into World War III. Oh, would you look at this man ready to sacrifice American lives? America first. America first. Candace, well, he's shutting down our ability to speak freely. She only cared about freedom of speech being impeded upon once it was Jewish students who were being attacked on campuses. Interesting. And once DJTA took a stance on that one, all of a sudden, I don't know about this Trump guy. So I want to go ahead and get into a video that I think does an incredible job of just breaking down some of these contradictions, because as much as we can conversate about here, when you just hear directly from the horse's mouth, ain't nothing like it. So let's get into it.
Last question. Do you have advice for the president, whom you know? You said you spoke by phone. I know you've been a supporter of his for a long time, but do you have advice for him now?
Yes.
But you didn't vote for Donald Trump, to be clear.
I did not, because I was sick. I was in bed for 6 months and I was unable to vote.
After dropping out of college, Owens became CEO of Degree 180, a website which included, among other things, a blog focused on taking down then-candidate Donald Trump.
My advice to him would be my advice to very many people who I've seen become very big and then get very small.
One article was titled, "Does Donald Trump Actually Have a Small Penis?" The piece concluded that Donald Trump most likely has a penis the size of an infant.
Don't ever get to the point where you think you're smarter than your audience.
I think that's very wise advice.
Referring to Trump, Carlson says, "I hate him passionately. I can't handle much more of this."
We are very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait, Carlson texted.
That Trump is, in his words, a demonic force, a destroyer, but he's not gonna destroy us.
I think that's the wisest advice you could give.
The older I get, the less tolerance I have for disingenuous individuals. The less I have for, cowardice and things of that nature. But when I was younger, I would give more leeway for an individual's character. And you could say, well, maybe you just had a big heart. Maybe you were just, more accepting, more tolerant. No, I was more foolish. I was unwise. That's what I was. I lacked discernment. See, I would let people do things to me or do things to the people around them and think to myself that maybe this is just this one time. It's the second. But okay, yes, they've done it a few times, but just give them the benefit of the doubt. That was me. I was the benefit of the doubt guy. That's why I am who I am now. When I start to recognize for myself a pattern, because it's got to be me. I can't take your opinion about somebody. I got to see the consistencies or the inconsistencies for myself. That's what led me to become a Trump supporter. I saw videos from the 80s that mirrored the 2010s and 20s. This man has been the same back then as he is right now. Now, he may not be a perfect man. Who is? The greatest man that was. Always been, the most morally astute. Never stepped out on a wife before, whatever. I'm not going to say that. And those aren't things I respect. I don't respect those aspects and those qualities at all. And if he is repentant from those things, that's a beautiful thing. But what I do know is he's been consistent. But the likes of a Candace, I have never been able to pin down a single consistency. What do you stand on? What do you stand for at all? I've been wrong about things. I found myself dipping and dabbling into different ideologies, and I've been, sort of a lefty. I've been a woo-woo spiritist. I've put out content on this and spirituality and thought I knew it all. But at the very least, I can say that I was convinced. I was convinced in the things that I was speaking on, the things that I was following day in, day out. Like, I believe in speaking the truth, but more importantly, is living that truth. You can't speak morality and then not actually live these things out, right? Obedience over belief, because obedience shows that you believe. Belief doesn't always show that you obey, which means it's not always technically authentic. Now, I didn't even know about the lack of a Trump vote in 2020 that she had. I didn't know about that. And I'll tell you, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I didn't vote for anybody. I still have my skepticisms, but more importantly, I hadn't gotten my little registration done yet. I was lagging on that. But I believed in who that man was because I was finally educating myself. And ironically, Candace was a part of that entire mishmash of people that I was allowing into my life, speaking into my life. Ironically, there was the Ben Shapiros, there was the Candaces, there was the McGinnises of the world, Gavin. There was the Jesse Lee Petersons of the world. Matt Walsh. I was opening myself up to these people. Officer Tatum, early. But it broke my heart at first, because now I guess I'm over that aspect. There's a part of it's not, grieving in the same sense of like actually losing a person in your life. But when you've been sold and told a lie and you follow that lie and you believe that lie, and then all of a sudden you realize that the person who even sold it to you doesn't actually believe it. It's like being in a cult. That's why I call it the cult of Candace Owens, the cult of conspiracy theory, right? It's developed or devolved into that at this point. When you realize that you just been sold, all these people I thought were actual, MAGA. We're the MAGA base. Yes, we believe in making America great. We believe in all of these things. We all believe this, right? No, that guy's in it for money. That girl's in it for power. That one is just, using it because it's controversial. When it's no longer controversial, they hop off the bandwagon. That person is all these people in their multitudes of reasonings that aren't this one reason, because I believe in it. Whether I'm wrong or right, I believe in it. Hot or cold, not lukewarm. And so that's the comparison that I see. And I can tie it into the Dave Smiths and all these. I feel like they're damn near like tentacles of the octopus, right? The body of the octopus is like a Candace and a Tucker. These are very, very powerful people in the context of influence. And influence is everything. Companies pay billions of dollars for influence, right? They look to tie themselves to celebrity for the purpose of influence. The little mustache man was one of the most influential people on the planet. And so if you have people who are speaking on things as if they believe those things, and these are dangerous things, these are lies, you have Tucker sitting down with one discredited person after the other. But most people have not done or won't do the research necessary to understand that that person went to prison for this and this person's been discredited about that. This person was a complete whack job. They will sit across from them and they will espouse and spew these things, hidden knowledges and hidden truths, and people will eat it up and they will lose their way. And sometimes I was telling my girl this in the car back from holiday. I said, sometimes I feel like I am, I feel like I'm crying out in the wilderness. Like I said, I never used to understand that. I never used to understand that in scripture. Talk about, these prophets would be crying out in the wilderness. And I know it's not just me. There's multitudes of people who are awake and aware and are bold and are courageous enough. Because that's more important than anything else. Not just to know the truth, but to be willing to speak it and to live it. But I said to her, can you imagine being the guy in Germany? 1933, 1934, 1935, 1936. Guys, wake up, wake up, wake up. And she reminded me, there were many who hid, right? Their Jewish neighbors who protected them. Imagine being one of those people who is trying to wake your neighbor up. And imagine being the neighbor who did not wake up until 1947, 1948. What a rude awakening that would be. You have blood on your hands. Now, I believe that all can be forgiven and all can repent, which means you truly change your ways, but you also face up to what you did, what you've done. And the consequences of that are going to be with you for the rest of your natural born life. You have the blood of children on your hands. And some people, when they hear me say something like that, they say, well, do you care about the children in Palestine? What about the quote unquote Palestine? You don't care about the children of Gaza? And I said, I think I care more about the children of Gaza than the entire movement that claims to. Because I say that Hamas must be destroyed. They must be erased. They must be dismantled completely. Because that blood is on their hands. But you, on the other side of the screen, and you know better, or maybe you don't, but you continue to go along with a narrative because you've bought into a cult of personality. These people who have inconsistencies in their own character. And you continue to carry forward those messages. And you look at people like myself and you say, oh, you're the enemy. I really got to thinking this morning. Wow, what it would have been like to be on either of those sides, the one trying to wake your neighbor up or the one who is the neighbor that is asleep. And now you wake up one day. Your neighbors who you once loved, claimed to love, the kids you used to take care of, you helped a babysitter, their blood is now on your hands. Because you gave your mind over to evil, to lies. They say that Lucifer is the father of what? Of lies? There's a reason for that statement. Lies. All it is deceit. You believe yourself to be enlightened, illuminated. You believe yourself to be in the light, then how dark is your darkness? If your light is darkness, how dark is your darkness? All of this started to make sense to me now. All of this has started to make sense to me now. You're living in the dark, calling it the light, and one day the actual light will be exposed on your head. And all you will have left is regret. And I don't wish that for anybody. That's why I take this so seriously. As much as I enjoy my vacation, we're over at the water park and doing our thing. This is where my heart is. I'm impassioned about this, and it's beyond me. It's bigger than me. So, again, I will never say that these people should not have a voice as far as the First Amendment. I will believe that forever. But we all have a choice as to whose voice that we heed. And I truly hope that you're one of these people that can take a step back, look away from the cult of personality that you've fallen into, like I have many times over in the past. Even Donald Trump, if Trump came out today and he said the sort of things I'm hearing from the likes of Candace, the likes of Tehran Tucker, and the rest of the bunch, I would be forced to withdraw my support because I know he's going the wrong way. But instead, he's done the opposite, and now they hate him that much for it. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
Aquarius. Where? I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, you. Staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, you. I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind. I've been getting visions of the other kind. I've been up for weeks. I'm in the counting blessings over counting sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the people. I